Hey DIYers, Jarrett here from Alarm Grid. Today we're going to be going over how you would pair the 2 gig SP1 keypad to the GC3e. Now normally, there's a couple of reasons as to why you would go ahead and set up a keypad in general with like a wireless alarm system. If you want to go ahead and be able to configure the system from be able to arm and disarm the system actually from a different point in the home or business, then you would set up a keypad that gives you a secondary point to be able to do that. Let's say for instance you have the GC3e like up in the master bedroom, or if you have like an office, right? You have this main system sitting inside that room or those rooms, but you want to be able to arm and disarm the system from, let's say, the front door, the back door. In an office setting, you want to go ahead and disarm it from the front door. So you would set up a keypad so that it gives you a secondary point or secondary place to be able to arm and disarm the system and do what you need to. Now, when you're setting up, different keypads and everything, you do want to keep in mind though that normally keypads are not able to let you do programming on the system. If you want to do programming or anything, normally you have to do it directly right there at the local panel because everything is being saved up on here. These keypads don't really give you that option. So you want to keep that in mind whenever you're setting this up and everything. But otherwise, it is actually very, very simple to go ahead and do the programming if you did it locally anyway. So now, the GC3e is able to support up to 4 keypads. You're going to see a little bit later in the video there's options for about 8 of them, but you actually are only able to set up 4 of these keypads with the system, so you definitely want to keep that in mind when you're setting these up. And you can actually have the partitions and everything interact with the keypad too, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Now, when you're pairing the keypad to the system, you want to make sure that they both are on the same Wi-Fi network. Okay, if you try to pair these and they're not set up on the same Wi-Fi network, they're not going to be able to connect. So you want to make sure that if you're setting these up within like a certain area or anything, you have that same Wi-Fi network available. If you have like a bad signal strength for that Wi-Fi network in a certain area that you're trying to set this up in, maybe look into setting up a repeater or something to push that Wi-Fi network out so that you can go ahead and do that and set up this keypad. So now one other thing that I want to add here about the pairing of the keypads and everything, you don't have to worry about the firmware version. The GC3e actually comes with the latest firmware version for the system, but you don't have to really worry about the firmware version when setting up the keypad to these systems. And also, lastly, the pairing process for this system. You can go ahead and set it up with the Wi-Fi, and as I said, you want to make sure that both the keypad and the panel are both set up on the same Wi-Fi. However, if you're not, or if you aren't able to get a good signal in that area, and you're not able to get a repeater, the other thing is you can set up an access point for the system so that the keypad can go ahead and connect to that. Now when you set up the access point, you're not going to get a long range normally, so you want to bear in mind whenever you're setting that up. Normally, it's good like 30 so feet, maybe 40 feet. If you're able to push that boundary, get a little bit further out there, that's great. But you want to keep that in mind about setting it up with the access point. Now for this video, we're not going to be covering how you would set it up with the access point though. If you do want to go ahead and check that out, we do have a link in the description below that you can go ahead and follow. Or for the FAQ for this video, you can actually go check that link out from there as well. So if you want to go ahead and set up your keypad to the GC3e, it's very simple. First, you want to go ahead and make sure that your keypad is actually set up to the Wi-Fi. So we already have our keypad powered up right now, but if you want to go ahead and do that, or when you do power it up, it's going to pull up this main menu here. You have wireless, you have wired, and then paired. Now, if you want to set up the Wi-Fi, you just tap on wireless, and it's going to go ahead and bring up this next window here with the different Wi-Fi networks available. You're just going to look for the one that you're using and just tap on it. It's going to bring up this window for entering the password. So at this point, just go ahead and enter your password real quick. And then actually at the bottom right, there's a blue next button. So when you type in your password, you're going to tap on next. It's going to bring up this next window. So it's just going through its process right now, connecting. It's going to bring this up right here. It gives you, an IP address that it's connecting to, subnet mask, gateway, DNS, everything. It tells you that it is connected. So once you've confirmed it's connected, just hit the back arrow on the right or on the left side. Now it's going to bring you back to this main screen. So at this point, we're going to be directing our attention over to the GC3e so that we can get this paired to the SP1. So on the main system itself, at the top right, you're going to be tapping on the 2 gig logo. This will take you straight to the option to enter your installer code so you can access the programming. So the default installer code is 1561. And then we're going to go into system configuration. You're going to go into keypads over to the right. And now this is where we're going to go ahead and pair the keypad. So on the left side, you're going to see different keypad addresses or zones that you can assign the keypads to. As you can see, there are 8, but we're only able to pair 4 keypads to the system. So it doesn't matter which keypad address you choose. We're just going to be starting on keypad 1, and then on the right side, you're going to see the information for the different settings. So if you want to go into keypad 1, at the bottom, you tap on Edit Keypad. It's going to give you the options to go ahead and configure that. So first one is keypad used. You want to make sure it's enabled. So we're going to go ahead and just tap on that. Then we're going to go to equipment code. Oh, and sorry, so the left side of the screen is going to be your different options that you're going to go ahead and configure so you can connect the keypad. On the right side, it's going to show you what you're setting up and what your options are. So as I well showed you, when you have keypad used over here, you can either disable it or enable it, but to go ahead and pair a keypad, you want to go and choose enabled. For equipment code, you actually want to keep this the same. Don't really change it, but this is the correct equipment code for that keypad. And then next you have device ID. So this is where we're going to place the GC3 into pair mode or into the pairing mode so that we can, or into the listening mode, so that we can go ahead and pair the SP1 keypad. So we're going to tap on pair. Now it's listening. So now what you have to do is on the SP1 keypad, we're going to go ahead and pair this now. So you have the option for pair. Just going to tap on pair, and it's going to start going through its pairing process. And now it says SP1 connected right on the panel, and then over here it's going to give you like a pairing key and serial number. You actually don't have to worry about this at all; it just generates that when you go ahead and pair it. So once you've confirmed that it is connected on the SP1, just hit the back arrow, so it takes you back to the main screen. And as you can see, the pair option is actually grayed out. That's because we did pair this to the system. If it is not grayed out, then there may have been something that happened. You might want to go ahead and try repairing it, or reconnecting it to the Wi-Fi, make sure it has good Wi-Fi connection, and then repairing it. So back over to the GC3e, we have the device ID, we have everything paired right here. If you want to go ahead and just pair a new keypad, then you tap on pair new, but we're going to move over to smart areas assignment. So smart areas assignments, this is basically like your partitions. If you have different partitions set up on the system, in this case you have 4 that you can go ahead and set up, then you would assign that to this keypad. Now you're not assigning this keypad to a specific partition so you can go ahead and control that partition. Actually, you're assigning the partition to the keypad so that any trouble conditions that generate on that partition show up on this keypad. So if we choose, let's say, partition 2 for the keypad, right? Any trouble conditions, anything that is happening on partition 2 are going to show up on the SP1 keypad. But if you have, sensors on partition 1, those sensors are, going through different events and everything or activity, they're not going to show on the keypad. So if you want to see certain events from a certain partition, on that keypad, you want to make sure you're choosing the right partition in the smart areas assignment area. So for right now, we're just going to keep it on or we're going to keep it on S1 because we don't really have any partitions set up at this moment. Now you move on to equipment age. So equipment age, it actually doesn't affect it at all. You can choose new or existing. We're just going to keep it to new. And then you have emergency keys. This is if you want to go ahead and set panics on the keypad. So for instance, on the GC3e, you have, like a medical panic, a police panic, you have like a silent panic if you wanted to set that up. If you want those to be shown on the keypad so you can actually activate those as well, then you would choose enabled. If you don't, then you go ahead and choose disabled. For this one, I'm just going to keep it enabled. And then the last one we have voice descriptor. Now, voice descriptor, it's a way that the GC3e can talk to the SP1 keypad. If you set a descriptor, you basically just tap on edit voice descriptor and you can type in any name that you want to. But the GC3e is essentially going to periodically check for the SP1 keypad, and when it does, and you have this voice descriptor set up, it's going to enunciate that descriptor for the keypad, so they can go ahead and try to communicate with that SP1. Now, this is optional. You don't exactly have to set it up if you don't want to. For right now, we're just going to leave it blank. But once you have everything configured here and you've confirmed everything is good to go, then at this point, you're just going to tap on return to system configuration over at the top right. Yeah, over at the top right. And then you hit the back arrow. Now it's going to bring up this window. So it's going to show you the the different options or different settings that you change. You have the keypad added, keypad use enabled, the SP1 touchscreen, everything that we just configured. If you've confirmed everything is good to go, then just press save. Now it's going to bring this back to the main menu, and then this keypad, or the SP1 keypad, is either going to go through a loading process so that it brings up everything from the GC3e system, and sometimes it can go through that loading process, or it'll immediately bring everything up right there. So once it's paired, you'll see the main screen of the keypad pop up on here, or it's going to display like basically the main screen. As you can see, very similar. Really the only way you can tell between the two systems are the two buttons and the look of the panel itself as well. But essentially it is going to go ahead and mimic that main screen. Now, as I said, when you pair that keypad, if it's going through there are occasions where it can go through a synchronization process. It just brings up a window and says it's synchronizing. Just give it a little bit, a few minutes or so it can go ahead and sync everything and pair up with the system correctly. And then once that's done, it's going to bring this up. So once it has go ahead and pull this up, you just want to do some testing, make sure everything's working. So let's just put the system into arm stay. So if you tap on arm stay,
arming stay,
you can see it's controlling the system at this point. So if you want to go ahead and do that, all you got to do is just tap arm stay. If you disarm it, then it's going to bring up the keypad to disarm it. So I'm going to put in the master code. Oh, wrong code.
System disarmed, ready to arm.
I used a different master code for a different system. Don't do that next time. But 1, 2, 3, 4 is not the master code for this. I just used 1, 1, 1, 1 to go ahead and disarm it. If you want to go into arm away mode, then you just tap on that, go into arm away mode on the system as well. If you want to go ahead and check out your smart home controls, you have your lights, thermostats, everything for your Z-Wave devices. If you want to check out your smart areas, this is where you would go ahead and take a look into your partitions and everything. You have system info and usage. You need to check certain information from the system. So for your dealer or anything, then you go into there. You want to go into system settings, then you can just tap on that and it'll bring this up. It's going to give you some very basic options here. You have user, sounds, bypass, everything. If you need to go ahead and configure a couple of things there, then you can. But keep in mind, you normally are not able to do that deeper level programming as you would with your main keypad. And that is how you pair the SP1 keypad to the 2 gig GC3e system. If you have any further questions about the 2 gig GC3e or alarm systems in general, please reach us at support@alarmgrid.com or go to our website, alarmgrid.com. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. If you want notifications of future videos, please click the bell icon. This is Jarrett with Alarm Grid. You have a great day.